Welcome back to the A-Flo Show podcast. Another episode for you this week. Taking a week off last week due to a Thanksgiving holiday. And my name is Andres Flores here with Colin Cross-Curry. Back again. Colin, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was good. I went back to Houston, and then I made the trip to Austin for the win, the Texas Tech win.
And Texas awesome. Tech, Red Raiders, bowl eligible, 6-6 on the season.
We want Bama.
We want Bama. Colin Cross-Curry wanting Alabama. Well, they lost, so
maybe Auburn.
We want Auburn.
Right.
We should get Auburn. Man, how was the atmosphere there at Texas?
It was cool. It was over 100,000 fans. A lot of Tech fans. I guess that's because it's the break, and I mean there is a big portion of Tech fans around the state. But it was cool. We were in the nosebleeds with my parents, and but we were in a Tech section, a big Red Raiders section, which was awesome, and it was a back and forth game. I think McLean Carter, he looked good at times and really bad at times. A couple of his interceptions were just bad throws, but Shimanek came in after losing his spot and won them the game. And how about that? I was not surprised that Shimanek came in. I thought going in both would play. I didn't think it'd be that late. I thought if there was going to be a change, it would have been there at halftime or when McLean really started struggling. And that probably would have been unfair to McLean to pull him at first sign of struggle. But I thought Nick was going to play, and he came in there. It was like the fourth quarter, right? I believe it was kind of right there at the start of the fourth quarter, that first drive into the first quarter. And man, he played well. I don't want to say it's his clutchest performance, but it's pretty clutch. Throwing those two touchdowns. It's got to be up there, yeah.
Those two touchdown throws there and to give the Tech the lead and then the win. I think defensively playing fantastic, and that's what you want to see for this defense going forward. And that's why I'm glad. Really, the staff as a whole, some people may say other about Cliff, but the staff as a whole staying together at least for one more year coming on into 2018.
Yeah, Cliff's definitely alive for next year is what it looks like. Do we know about the bowl game coming up? Obviously we're eligible, but do you know?
Yeah, nothing's been announced. It probably won't be announced till this coming Sunday after all the championship games. Big 12, SEC, Pac-12. Who else has Big 10 has one, I think.
Big 12 has the new championship game.
Yeah.
And then all the other conferences, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC.
I forgot the SEC.
Pac-12, yep.
And the ACC, I think. Yeah, so it won't be really announced till after that. But
you got any predictions?
Yeah, we're looking at some predictions. A lot for the Heart of Texas Bowl in Dallas, and a lot for the Houston Bowl there in Houston. But I've also seen some Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee, and possibly the Cactus Bowl in Tempe, Arizona. So those are probably the four right now you're probably going to get. And I think really if you're any bowl, you want either the team that's going to draw you the most money or the team that's going to be local in your same state or your same conference area to bring the most people in there, right? Would you agree with that? That's what kind of bowls look forward to, is to get, like I say, a Texas Bowl or a Houston Bowl. They want a Texas team, and if that happens to be Texas Tech, they'll take them.
Yeah, you mentioned Memphis and Arizona as places to go. I mean, they're not going to draw as many fans and as much revenue if Texas Tech's playing there. So you're right about that. But what were your thoughts on the game? It seemed like it was back and forth, and the defense has certainly improved from last season. But what did you think about the game, just in general?
Great start with McLean. Him getting that start, touchdown running in, a little bit lackluster there in the middle. Not lackluster, but just kind of, and I think Texas made improvements and adjustments, and they kind of got on to McLean Carter. They knew what to expect from him. Again, I liked the defensive effort. You turn those 4 turnovers. I think that's what you need to win at a consistent level here in the Big 12 Conference. Now, can they do that week in and week out in the Big 12 Conference? They haven't done it yet. It's tough, but we're still growing. Really, this is I think David Gibbs has said, but this is the first really true year for this defense, right? Because he's been here 3 years, but he's had to clean up, get the players.
These are his guys, playing. Yeah.
So, I mean, if the future definitely looks bright, if we can keep the guys coming back that are going to be here, and then just the new guys that they go out and recruit. I mean, I thought it was fantastic. And then just to seal the deal in Austin, that touchdown there at the end, very similar to Jakeem Grant 2 years ago.
Yeah, back-to-back wins in Austin. That's got to be good for just morale and recruiting, if anything.
And just morale and just not comfort level, but confidence level, really. I mean, you really can go into anybody's place and win. I even think Norman's a winnable place. You've done it before.
With Cliff?
Well, no, it was with Tuberville in 2011.
Oh, man, okay, I'm behind, yeah.
But you've been there before, and I don't think any place in the Big 12 is like a unstoppable place. You cannot.
And if it was a place, it was going to be Austin, but now it's not.
No, it's not.
I mean, without Deontay Foreman last year, we're beating UT 3 years in a row. And which is I think just good overall for the program.
And we're talking very good about this performance and this victory, and you mentioned back-to-back wins in Austin, but does it take a little bit away of it being a 6-6, a 5-7, a 6-6 a couple years ago?
I mean, I think I thought that going into the game, I was like, it's still, two bad teams in the Big 12 playing it out. But when you're there in the stadium, you see over 100,000 fans there. People care about this game, and it's a big game between just the programs and the fans. I don't think it's one of those games where it's very cliche, but throw out the record books, throw it out. I mean, people care about this game no matter what the records are of the teams. And certainly, I mean, I think, like we mentioned a couple weeks ago, Cliff was coaching for his job and got the win. And man, I'm excited. I mean, the future is so bright. McLean Carter, as we mentioned, didn't have the best game, but his first start is in Austin, Texas, on the road against a good defensive team. I mean, he has only room to improve these next 2 years. He's only a sophomore as it is, so yeah, you got to be excited about the future.
What about your bowl predictions? You haven't said anything. Where do you think these guys will
I don't even know. I'd hopefully they play in Texas. That way, we can get a big fan base going in, and then hopefully against another Texas team, because that's all recruiting. I think is when you can go back and Cliff can go into a player's house and say, hey, we played this team in a bowl game, we beat them, and this is in our own state. So I like to play a team in Texas.
Let me ask you this: what's more important, the opponent or the site of the bowl game, or are they kind of the same?
That's a good question. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I think for me, I would. It again depends on who you're playing. Remember, 2 years ago you play LSU. That's a big time opponent, and it's in Texas, so you'll take that. Now, I've seen some predictions where we might play UCLA. Yeah, they're having a down year, but,
it's still UCLA.
It's still UCLA. They're going to have Chip Kelly next year, which we probably need to talk about that. Chip Kelly getting hired at UCLA. To me, I think I would rather play the better team than
you want the biggest
place.
Name out there because, we're Texas Tech. We're still Big 12, but we're smaller Big 12. So we want the big name to play. Like
you want to play Power
LSU.
5. Yeah. Not North Texas. No disrespect to North Texas.
You don't want North Texas, UTSA, Rice. We don't want those teams. And then if you lose to them,
then what happens? Then everybody's back to Firecliff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would rather pick the opponent, regardless of where it may be, than just playing here in Dallas or here in Houston. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to Dallas or Houston, but we've been there before. We went to Dallas and Arlington this year. We went to play Houston at Houston this year. So do we really? And I'm saying the team. Would they get up for another trip to Houston or another trip to the Dallas area? Who knows? Who knows? All right. Anything else about the game against Longhorns?
No, it was an exciting win, man. It was awesome. It was good to be there.
All right. Let's before we go to basketball, I want to stick on the college football. I want to talk about the playoff because there's going to be a new playoff coming out tomorrow night, and then of course the hiring, the firing, the non-hiring, the non-firing. First UCLA with Chip Kelly. And then, of course, Tennessee. I mean, that's just a disaster going on there in Tennessee. You hire Greg Schiano. You don't want Greg Schiano. You fire Greg Schiano. And then people are rioting, and it's just crazy. But Chip Kelly, is he good for college football? Just having him back, is Chip Kelly good for college football?
100%. I mean, I think he was between Florida and UCLA. And, I mean, obviously he made a good choice. I think he's already been on the West Coast, as we know, with Oregon.
Been successful in that conference.
About as successful as you can be. I mean, he had Marcus Mariota, had the Heisman Trophy winner, so he can recruit definitely in California. It's probably just so much easier for him to be in the West Coast anyway. And, I mean, the Pac-12 needs him because they're not going to have a team in the playoff this year. I mean, unless something crazy happens and USC gets in, but I don't see that happening. So they're not going to have a playoff team in for I believe the third time this is the fourth year, so this will be the third time they've had no team in. So the conference needs this. It's good for college football. He's a winner, honestly. He had some success in the NFL, but the guy's a winner in college, and I'm excited to see him. But I mean, what are your thoughts about, I guess, him and the Tennessee situation?
First on Kelly, thought it was a great hire. Now I'm an offensive guy. I like any type of offense, whether it be Mike Leach's, Cliff Kingsbury's, whoever. Chip Kelly's, I like Dana Holgerson. I like just watching offense on the field. I was an offensive player in high school. When I play video games, I play Madden or whatever. I play more offense than I play defense. I'm just an offensive guy. So I think it's a great hire for college football to get him back. Now, Florida or UCLA, my opinion, it was my pick. I probably would have gone Florida, but I can understand kind of the reasons why you said why he's going there. He's successful there. He's been there before. But now you go to L.A. where you're not just the second team in there. You're now the fourth team in LA because you have the 2 NFL teams, right? So you're kind of like the fourth in the pecking order, if there's a pecking order between the
I think if there's a pecking order then that you mentioned, they're probably second or third. I consider the Chargers to be still in San Diego. They play in the soccer stadium still. So, but you're right that they have to compete against teams like USC and the Rams, who are actually having a good season right now. But it's going to be good for college football. I think just him not going to Florida just meant that he wants to stay on the West Coast and that the SEC is the SEC still. I mean, you still got to play Alabama, Auburn, and all those teams down south. It's just, I think it's a good choice.
Does that scare coaches, the title SEC, do you think?
I don't know. I think it depends on the job right now, but I mean, I guess it's different for every guy. But for me personally, if I'm choosing between an easier conference that's going to pay you the same, say you're getting paid the same Florida and UCLA, you have an easier path to a national championship, to conference championships, to higher elevation of your coaching career and legacy with the Pac-12 than you do SEC right now, because Alabama, Auburn, they just run it right now. And LSU too is having an off year, but they're still having a good year. So you're joining, if you join Florida, you're automatically the fourth guy. You're the fourth best team. You're the fourth, you're still the fourth in the pecking order. But I mean,
and how about your state? I mean, the resurgence of Miami, you may now be still second in your state.
Yeah, and Florida State's having an off year, and so I mean, still you're fighting between players in your own state for recruiting, and now it's just it's just probably so much easier for him to be still on the West Coast and stay on the West Coast.
No, I'm glad for Chip Kelly. I'm glad he's back. I'm excited to see what he can do there. Greg Schiano thing. To me, the name Schiano came out of nowhere. I'm not following Tennessee football religiously, but just, I mean, they could have had, Gruden Lane Kiffin was also thrown out there. They decided to go with Greg Schiano with kind of a head scratcher there. And I guess nobody there at Knoxville wanted him because they riot and they
Someone
protest.
must have wanted him. I mean, they got him, but
so when I hear that Schiano's he's gonna want some compensation because they hired him, but now they don't want him. So hopefully he didn't leave the Ohio State job too early, where he still has that. But man, it's crazy times up there in Knoxville.
And now whoever hires him is gonna, if he ever gets another job again, which I'm sure he will, but there's gonna be backlash on that school or that program as well. Whoever hires him, so it's just interesting situation. And I think it's a situation we don't want to talk about because it's not sports related. It's an outside figure. It's outside issues. But I mean,
well, let me ask you one more question about fan bases. Do you think they hurt chances for either big time coaches or just coaches in general coming to their city, their school, their program to coach any sport? Do you think a fan base could hurt that? Obviously we've seen it here with Schiano. It kind of hurt because they didn't want him, but does it hurt elsewhere, you think?
I mean, it's going to hurt him to get a job and a position, but I mean, I think it hurts the Tennessee fan base, the way they reacted and the way the situation has gone down. I mean, now the next coach, does the next guy even want to come to Tennessee if he has another option? Just interesting situation.
No,
but I mean,
definitely.
But going around college football, what did you think about the other games? We had the big game in Michigan. We had the Iron Bowl. We had the Battle of Florida. I mean, what were your thoughts besides the coaching situations around college football this weekend?
First, I like rivalry week. I like when these rivals play. Georgia Tech, Georgia. You mentioned the Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, stuff like that. I like those games. I wish we had a rivalry, and I guess Texas was it, but we don't play Texas every year on this weekend, right? Sometimes we'll play them earlier in the season, and
that's one thing I want. I want us to have a consistent last game like that because it builds, like you said, it builds a rivalry, and a rivalry is good for both sides.
Yeah, I thought it was a good weekend. Ohio State, of course, taking care of business. I was shocked to see Alabama lose. I really was. I guess the Tigers of Auburn are for real. I guess because they knock off Georgia when they were number one at home. Now they knocked off Alabama when they were number one at home. So I guess if you're Auburn, morale's definitely got to be high. You're probably in the driver's seat.
You win, you're in.
You win, you're in.
This week, you're in the playoff,
and it'll be the first 2-loss team to get in the playoff since we've had this playoff system. Oklahoma rolling, TCU rolling. They'll meet up. Do you really care to see Oklahoma TCU again? I don't.
I care because I want to see Baker. I'm actually a fan of Baker Mayfield. I probably shouldn't be, but I want to see them in the playoff. And I know if OU somehow stumbles up on Saturday and loses, they will be out, and Ohio State or an Alabama will be in. And I don't want that.
Yeah,
I don't want that. I think college football fans want that, but I think me personally, I don't want that. I want to see a Big 12 team in there, and I want to see just Baker in the
Well, yeah,
playoff.
if you're the Big 12, you want to see that because you see sometimes you get two SEC schools. Well, actually, I've never had two of the same conference in there, but there's always talk that you could get two SEC schools.
If it's going to happen, this is the year to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, with Alabama and Auburn going back in the playoff.
Yeah. Alabama has no games left, so really they just gotta. They're playing the waiting game right now.
They're just watching other teams play across the country. They're watching to see this TCU OU game. They want to see Clemson, Miami, and I guess in Wisconsin and Ohio State. They're just watching, I guess, which has got to be a tough situation. But it's an interesting weekend. I mean, I'm very excited to see. The game, honestly, I'm most excited to see is the U versus Clemson. I mean, they each have one loss. Each loss has been very bad losses. I mean, Syracuse and Pitt have been their losses. So I'm interested to see, what happens. And that's probably the game I'm most looking forward to. What about you, though?
The most game probably, let's see. Yeah, that's got to be up there. I'm an SEC guy, too. I just like watching. I don't know. It's something about 2:30 on Saturdays. It's always going to be a good SEC game.
Yeah, CBS.
Yeah, so I always tend to go to that one. And kind of the same way you're with Baker, I'm kind of the same way I was with Jarrett Stidham. I covered Lubbock Cooper play-by-play here at the radio station I work with in Lubbock, and a few years ago they played Jarrett Stidham twice, one on national television too, and they beat Jarrett Stidham. The Lubbock Cooper Pirates did. So I've kind of had my eye on him ever since he played against Lubbock Cooper, and of course we know the story. He committed a tech, decommitted, he went to Baylor. We know all the story. So I mean, if he wins, okay. That's fine. I'm kind of going for you, kind of not. I wish you were here, but whatever. So if he happens to win the game and go on, then I'll be happy. So I'm going to say Georgia versus Auburn. Do you want to rank your top six right now?
Yeah,
and
you can go first.
And there's still a lot of time left. I mean, I think the six that I'm about to throw out are not going to be the six in this order come next week because
games will change.
Anything can happen.
Played, yeah.
So I will go number one. For me, I'm going to have Auburn jump all the way to number one. I think that's just two number one teams in 3 weeks. I think that deserves a number one ranking. I know you have two losses, but
in one of those losses against Clemson. So you
against Clemson, who won the national championship. So I'm going to go Auburn at 1. I'm going to go Clemson at 2, Oklahoma at 3, and then Wisconsin at 4. Wisconsin at 4, Alabama 5, and then my number 6 team, I guess, is going to be Ohio State.
What about UCF? Undefeated?
I know, that's
I'm
tough.
Just messing with you.
No, that's tough. I saw it on Twitter. I saw a picture that somebody tweeted out. Like, if it was the old BCS rankings, UCF would be your number 3 team right now, just because they're undefeated. And you remember the BCS. There's numbers thrown into it and strength of schedule, but I would like to see them get a chance. And everyone's going to call for a 16 team playoff. But
if there's an 8-team playoff, they would definitely be in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I said Auburn. I think I'm forgetting Georgia too somewhere. So I think
Georgia's in there. They're number 7 right now.
Yeah, Georgia's got to be in 7. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so yeah, my top 4. I'll start from 6 and go down to 1. Number 6 is Georgia, the Bulldogs. If they win, they're in SEC championship this Saturday, like you said. They win, they're in. Georgia at 6. Number 5, I go with Bama. They're just sitting and waiting. They're waiting for an upset from TCU.
Would you rather be in that spot that Bama's in now, or do you want to
be playing with the chance to go to the playoffs? I mean, you can't just. No one likes this. No player wants to sit and wait, right? I mean,
if you're automatically going to be in there,
but they needed for them to get in from what we've seen. We both agree on is they need help from an outside team like a TCU and an Ohio State.
Yes,
but I mean, I would hate to be in that situation, just waiting there for I guess 2 weeks until the playoffs come out.
Yeah.
Like I said, so Bama at 5, Wisconsin at number 4. They're the same way with Georgia. They win, they're in. I guess we both have agreed that the way Championship Saturday is, it's a playoff. It's a playoff. It's a play into the playoff. So Wisconsin wins, they will be in. They got Ohio State in Indiana. That'll be on Saturday as well. But number 3, I'm going to go with Oklahoma, the Sooners. Same situation. They win, they're in. I like Baker. I think right now he's the Heisman runner right now, Heisman favorite in my opinion. But if he just continues this up for, I guess, this next game, he'll probably be in New York. I'm excited to see him play on Saturday against TCU. Number 2, I'm going to go with Auburn. They have had 2 big wins, like you said, at home against Georgia and Alabama, both number 1s. Both games were dominated by them. I know Alabama game was closer than we'd think, but it was still a blowout in my opinion, 26-14. And number 1, I got the Clemson Tigers, the defending national champs, just one loss, and they're just like Miami. They win, they're in as well.
None of us had Miami in our top 6s or 7s, but
I guess they're number 7.
yeah, I mean, if they're gonna need some help too, of course they got to win, and they'll probably need some more help as well to get in. Because I don't think they're gonna jump Alabama, right? I mean, if they win, is Alabama not playing? Do they jump Alabama? Probably
Yeah, if you want to compare losses, Alabama's loss is a lot better than losing to Pitt for the U, which is unfortunate, I think, for football, because we all wanted to see the U undefeated in the ACC championship game. But now I guess they got to win and maybe get some help too. It's just interesting to see. But that's why it's sports. I mean, we like talking about it. I mean, it's awesome. A lot of things to play out still.
Real quickly on Baker, I know you mentioned earlier you're kind of a fan of him. You like him, right? Now, all these off-field antics, and you said he's a front runner right now, but all these off-field antics, do you think it's going to hurt him? With voters?
Johnny Manziel won, right?
Did Johnny Manziel grab his crotch and tell the?
He's doing some other stuff though, but yeah, you're right about that. I mean, think about it. For me, it's Baker, but who for you in college football is holding the Heisman Trophy right now?
Well, see, that's tough because I don't think there's anybody right there, right behind him. You know, Barkley's obviously a sexy name, but what has he done lately? Baker's been winning, and Penn State's been winning, but when it mattered most, they did not win, right? So Baker has been winning when it matters most. Now you said he's a front runner guy right now, but
in my opinion, yeah.
What if he has 2 losses here before the? Or I guess it'll be one before the Heisman.
That's what I'm saying. So if he wins, if he wins on Saturday and balls out, which I think he will, then he'll be in New York, and I think he'll win it. But it all comes down to Saturday. It's going to be an exciting weekend. So many good games, so many good matchups.
He's going to get it. Yeah, I think he's going to get it. Yeah. And I'm not trying to say that in spite, but he's going to get it. So
yeah, that sucks. He was here. Now he's not. I guess if we want to switch sports but stay in college, what do you think about Texas Tech men's basketball team? 22 in the nation. The rankings just came out. They're 22 in the USA coaches poll. What do you think about their start so far? Yeah, being ranked for what was the number? Was it maybe 8 or 9 years? I think the last time they were ranked there in the AP poll at 22. Man, 6-0 to start the season. I don't think it's not a surprise. I think, I guess easily they could have lost to a Boston College or a Northwestern. They didn't. They took care of business. They killed Northwestern.
Yeah, they killed Northwestern. But those are the type of games against, still Power 5 conferences. Not the Savannah States, not the Woffords of the world, where of course you expect them to beat those teams. But teams like that, Boston College, Northwestern, where in previous years you might slip up and lose one of those, not expectingly. So I think they've done a good job so far. With the 6-0 start, the freshman play has been my biggest surprise and really the biggest thing I'm excited for, not only for this year but for the future with these guys, Culver and Zaire Smith, and of course the veterans coming back, Evans, Odiasi, Zach Smith, who else? Niam Stevenson. All these guys are. It seems like it's a puzzle that's finally getting put together. That probably should have been put together a long time ago. And we've had a lot of different coaches come in. It's been kind of a disaster. It really has. I mean, Tubby Smith brought you back, took you to the tournament, but losing him like that really kind of hurt everything that you had. Now, this class was Tubby Smith with Smith and Keenan Evans, right? So now they're seniors, and it's kind of just coming together here with Chris Beard. Another tough game this week against Seton Hall. It's going to be another test. Want to see how they're going to do with that. And if they can do that, live up to their ranking. Don't be like football where you get ranked and then the next week you're out. So live up to this ranking, take care of business, and then let's keep going forward on into the new year.
Like you said, you kind of hit everything. You're right about that. I mean, I think you said Tubby Smith's guys, Keenan Evans and Zach Smith. They are the seniors, so it's an interesting dynamic with the basketball team. They had the stud freshmen, like you said, Zaire Smith and Jarrett Culver, who are second and third scoring on the team, and they're both freshmen. And then you have Zach Smith and Keenan Evans, the seniors. So it's a good mix of seniors, juniors, and freshmen all playing well. And I had the chance to watch them play against Warford, which wasn't really a game, and Northwestern, which also wasn't really a game. And what I saw was from the Northwestern game, they had 9 players. This is a good stat for you. 9 players played over 14 minutes. So, which I guess is good because going down to conference play, you need a deeper team. You need more guys that can play and produce well. So that was good to see that. And like you mentioned, the Seton Hall game is on Thursday. Seton Hall, a top 25 team as well. But after that Seton Hall game, if they win or lose, they play that game. Whatever happens. But after that game, they have 7 games in a row at home, 6 of which are against non-conference teams and against really bad teams. Let me just mention a few: Nevada, Rice, Florida Atlantic, and Abilene Christian are their next some of their next games, and they're all at home. So I think if they beat Seton Hall on Thursday at home, then they'll probably be most likely they should be undefeated going against Baylor at the start of conference play. And I'm excited for it. We got a top 25 team that should be a tournament team here in Lubbock.
Well, I don't think being undefeated in the regular season in basketball or the non-conference is as important as it is in football, right? I mean, in football, you pretty much need to take care of your non-conference. Don't get me wrong, testing in Seton Hall, after that, I get those 7 games. They're going to be easy.
They should be easy.
Yeah, they should be
kind of
easy.
What I'm saying.
And I mean, I don't want to be this guy, but how are they going to play? How are they beating these teams is more important than if they beat these teams, right? I mean, are they, like you said, that stat, are they playing 9 guys, 14 minutes? Or are people scoring? Are these freshmen continuing to play the way that they've been playing so far this season? Yes, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting, but you do have the Big 12 schedule coming up, and you went 6-12 last year in the Big 12. That's got to change, and that's probably why you didn't make the tournament, because you went 6-12 in your conference. I think even an 8-10, 8-10, or a 9-11 might have got you in. So that's just 2 or 3 more games that you need to win to get into the conference. So let's work on that. Use this non-conference portion to get you ready for that conference schedule.
Beat up on these teams you should beat up on, and then just continue to roll.
Yep, because you can never have too many wins when it comes to the selection committee. Yeah. Selection Sunday.
And now I guess you hope for BC and Northwestern just to have really good seasons, because the college basketball is funny when you can go back to games in early November and say, hey, well, they beat them, so they should get in. It's interesting. I think we mentioned this, I guess, last podcast, but you just have to be average in the Big 12 to make the tournament. The Big 12 is, I think, in my opinion, and I think same goes for you, is the best conference in college basketball. 5 of the top 25 teams in the rankings right now are in the Big 12. So you just got to be average. You just got to be par for the course, and you'll be in the tournament, which I guess is the goal for this season, is to make the tournament.
Yeah. Win at home, still win on the road, right? That's what they always say.
Yeah.
You play 8 at home, so might as well win them all. And then if you can still a few here on the road, you should be in good shape.
Win the home games, take care of the bad teams on the road, and you should be in the tournament. I think it's good to have such good seniors and have guys that have been in the tournament and played these games. I mean, you got Keenan Evans and Zach Smith. These are guys that are seniors. They've played in Kansas 3 times. They've played in West Virginia 3 times. They know how to play in these big games, and they're going to help the freshmen along the way this season. And it's exciting. I'm excited to see this team play this season.
You probably would have been really more exciting if Tech lost that game to Texas over the weekend. But I'm still excited for the football team. I think one more game is never bad. And hopefully you win that one and then you'll have a winning season. But that's enough for Texas Tech football. So, Tech basketball doing pretty good. 2-22 in the AP poll. Volleyball also made a trip to the NIT equivalent to what they have in volleyball. So good stuff for Texas Tech.
And they weren't good at all last year, were the volleyball team?
Not at all.
They had that new coach. Now they turn it around, so that's good for
15-14 winning record there. That's
good for them. That's awesome.
Yeah, all righty. A-Flo Show here. Anything else you wanted to touch on? Do you want to jump NBA or NFL?
Yeah, we can jump to NFL. More to talk about in the NFL anyway.
Yeah, Cowboys not good at all.
Yeah, started off Cowboys. I
mean, obviously you have Zeke, obviously your best player if you're a Cowboys fan. But third game now, he'll miss 3 more.
And the offense all 3 games has been non-existent.
Non-existent at all, and you thought you had the best offensive line for the last couple of years, and that don't look like it is now. And then, is Dez really a great receiver? I mean, has he done much since?
Is he past his prime?
Yeah, that's an early prime, to be honest with you. I guess he's been around. He's been around quite a bit.
Feels like he's been around for a while.
But when I think of Dez, I still think him as a young and upcoming.
Yeah, 29 years old. I take back what I said.
29
years old. I saw an interesting headline that there might be a hot seat for Jason Garrett as head coach. What do you think about that? I mean,
interesting. I mean, obviously with the Cowboys, anything can happen. 13-3 last year, expected to win. I mean, but again, you didn't think Philadelphia was going to be this good, and how good they've been. I mean, that's just surprising. 10-1, right? 10-1 on the season,
9 in a row.
But Jason Garrett, I thought it might have been up a couple years ago, prior to that season last year. It was probably time for him to go. And one thing I always hate about talking coaching changes, either college or NFL, is just who do you go get? Obviously, these GMs or Jerry Jones might know a little bit more than I do, right? Money-wise. This is what I mean. Like, money-wise, how much money can you throw at somebody? I think it's a little bit harder in college because coaches don't make that much money in college as they would in the NFL, correct?
Yeah.
So it's hard. Who would you go get? Would you stay in-house? I don't know. Does Jason Garrett need to make the playoffs to stay alive?
Well, they're not making the playoffs this year. That's pretty much. I think that's pretty clear.
Really?
After
5-6. They're 5-6 with winnable games against the Redskins, the Giants. You'll play the Eagles one more time. The Seahawks, who aren't the Seahawks of the past, and the Raiders, who aren't the Raiders of the past.
But I think looking at the standings as it is, you have to win 10 games in the NFC because the NFC is stacked this year to make the playoffs. So you got to win out. They're 5-6. They have to win out, win the last 5, and make the playoffs. I guess there's so much expectations for the Cowboys this year with Jason Garrett, and they're not living up to it. And I guess the whole Zeke thing is hanging over, is a dark cloud over their season, over their team, and I guess it's obviously affecting them very badly because all 3 games he's been out, the offense has just been zero, and that. I'm a Texans fan. I'm a non-Cowboys fan, so I kind of like it. I like seeing them struggle, but it's just interesting season for them. I guess it's kind of a lost season as it is.
How about the Texans? I know they're playing currently as we are speaking Monday Night Football.
If they don't win tonight, their season's over. I don't have much expectations on the season since Deshaun went down and JJ went down, and we traded away Dwayne Brown. But I guess the season's on the line tonight on Monday night, and we haven't played well on Monday night in our history, so it's obviously a must-win. But people are talking about Bill O'Brien losing his position after this season if we don't do well. But I think he'll be back for next season, and I'm honestly more excited about next season with Deshaun getting back, with JJ getting back, with just everybody improving and having some draft picks over the offseason. But I guess also switching to another team. What do you think about? The 2 best teams as it is, the Patriots and the Eagles. Patriots 9-2. The Eagles are 10-1. What do you think about them so far this season?
The Steelers lose last night. They ended up losing.
They won 31-28 against the Packers.
So are they up there tied with the?
They are tied for first place right now.
All right, but you want to just limit this to the Eagles and the Patriots?
You can talk about anybody you want to.
No.
It's A-Flo Show, baby.
No, Eagles definitely more surprising. Just Carson Wentz. I didn't see this coming into the year. Him being so successful. Good to see, honestly. I'm an offensive guy. It's an offensive system. He's an offensive quarterback, so I like it. Now, being a Cowboy fan, I don't like it as much, but just being a football fan in general, hey, it's good. It's good, especially even the Rams, too. Look at the Rams. Offensive kind of minded there with their coach, Jared Goff. You know him from Cal, so it's good stuff. Now, what was the question? You're just asking to...
What do you think about? What are your thoughts on the best teams in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the Eagles are legit. They're for real. I don't think they're going to go 15-1. They will probably rest some starters there towards the end, especially that last game with the Cowboys, I believe. And the Cowboys might win that one with their playoff chances alive. Hopefully they're going towards the end. But I for sure think the Eagles will get the first seed. They will get that first round bye, and they will host all the playoff games coming into the Super Bowl. For the Patriots, I don't get it. I don't get how they don't have like stars, right? Now, obviously Brady's a star, but Brady's also 40 years old, and how they continue to be this way. I get a system. I get being a system player, a system quarterback or whatever, but I don't get it how good they are. I really don't. Props to them. They continue to be good every year. They continue to make Super Bowl appearances. They win it last year.
Dominate everybody, yeah.
Is it the AFC that bad? That's why they're able to do that?
That's what I think it is. I think the NFC is loaded with good teams. Like the Cowboys are currently the 10th best team in the NFC, and if they were in the AFC, they'd probably be in the playoff picture. That's just the way it is this year. It's kind of the same thing with the NBA and the East West. Yeah. But you mentioned the Eagles they probably won't go 15-1. But they still got the Vikings and the Rams and the Saints right behind them at 9-2 and 8-3 and 8-3.
I like that Viking team. I hope they can host the Super Bowl in their home stadium.
I like Case Keenum. He's a Houston guy. He got a bad rap after being in Houston and in LA. But 6 in a row, and he's earned that starting job. People were talking about benching him for Bridgewater. Now all he's done is win. All he's done is win since Bridgewater's been back. So
has anybody ever hosted a Super Bowl, like played the Super Bowl in their home stadium?
No. So they get the number 1 seed. They'll have home field advantage throughout the Super Bowl. So that would be awesome to see. And how can you hate Case Keenum? How can you dislike that team? That's such a good team.
Stephenville, right? I think he went to Stephenville High School. You can look that up. I think I'm right. Stephenville, Texas, and then also went to Houston.
Yeah, he's from Brownwood.
Oh, Brownwood,
Texas.
Brownwood.
Yeah. And
then went to Houston.
University of Houston. And all he did was just break a bunch of records at University of Houston. You can't hate him. It's coming down to the wire, though. If each team has 5 games left and plenty of football to be played.
Hey, did you see the Crabtree fight?
I did. Why is he still wearing chains? I don't get it.
No idea.
Why is Talib pulling chains, and why is he still wearing chains? I saw a cool stat about Crabtree. He had 128 games consecutively with a catch in the NFL, which got broken after that fight because they both got ejected.
I think Crabtree's a legit good wide receiver in the NFL. He doesn't get the name recognition, right? I wouldn't think, but
the Raiders have been so bad for so long that he's just now getting recognition with Derek Carr.
He's a quality receiver. I think he's a guy you would want on your team, right? He's not going to be Julio. He's not going to be Megatron, but he's going to be Michael Crabtree there, a guy that's...
But how would we know? I mean, he just played with such bad quarterbacks throughout his career with the Raiders, and now... I guess, well, he's kind of bounced around, hasn't he?
He had Kaepernick there for a little bit.
Kaepernick for a couple of years. Yeah, you're right about that. But Mike, I'm going back to why is he wearing chains? What's up with that, man?
You're more concerned about the chains.
I am. Those chains are expensive. I think the first one he said was $40,000. I mean, Talib just took away $40,000 from him. But they got so much money. I guess why does it matter?
Can you get those fixed? I guess you can't, huh?
I don't know. I'm not really a chain guy, Andres. I don't know if you know me.
I'm a turnover chain guy.
Yeah.
I wear my turnover chain. No, man, congratulations. You played yourself, Kraft, for wearing those in the game. Oh, man. All right, let's see. What else do we got NFL-wise? I mean, we're getting there towards the end. It's getting there. I mean, we're still what, 5 weeks, but we're getting there.
Kansas City Chiefs
continue
to struggle.
Are they going to give Pat a try or not?
Today, Andy Reid said in a press conference that Alex Smith is his quarterback, so I'm going to listen to Andy Reid. They started out 5-0, and since then are 1-5. So,
1-5,
and the offense has just been at a standstill. I mean, last 3 games they've all lost 17-9 and 10 points in those games. The offense is gone. I mean, we saw the offense there the first 5 games, and now it's non-existent. So maybe Pat Mahomes. We all want to see Pat Mahomes. I want to see him. You want to see him. But if the Chiefs continue to struggle, then I'm sure we'll see him.
Here's a stat for you: the Chiefs are the 4th team in the Super Bowl era to go 1-5 or worse in the 6 games immediately following a 5-0 start. Those previous teams were the Vikings in 16. They finished 8-8. The Falcons in 15. They finished 8-8. And the Giants in 2009 finished 8-8. And all 3 did not make the playoffs. So,
and now they got the Chargers, who are hot right now after starting 0-4, and the Raiders, just kind of mediocre Raiders. But hey, they're both those teams are 5-6, a game back of the division. So, I mean, they had it locked up, it seemed like, after 5 weeks, but now it's still raced with 5 games to play for all those teams. And honestly, out of those 3 teams, I like the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers they're hot right now. They've won 5 out of their last 7 games, and they have a very favorable schedule coming up. They got the Browns and the Redskins both at home their next 2 games, so I'm sure they'll win both those games and be over 500. But pretty much what we said. I think the NFC is stacked, and the AFC is just the Patriots and I guess the Steelers, but they just had a very bad game against a bad Packers team. Mm-hmm. So it's just everyone's inconsistent all the way around. Everyone's inconsistent, and then there's the Patriots. So I guess we're setting up for a Patriots versus whoever you want to put in the NFC. I mean, there's 7 good teams.
Yeah, yep. Hey, before we get to the NBA talk, I do want to mention a couple of MLB things. My Yankees, we're still looking for a manager. I'm starting to get worried now.
Who do you want?
At first, I want. Well, see, they've interviewed people. I wanted A-Rod or Beltran. Just I like the former player kind of thing. I mean, obviously Cliff here at Tech. Something about it, I like it. Stay home. Stay with the people that you've had.
They know the culture already, so it's easy. Yeah. It's easy fix. Yeah.
But out of the guys they've interviewed, which has been like Eric Wedge, the bench coach from the Dodgers, the bench coach from the Giants, Aaron Boone, Rob Thompson, who was on the staff last year as a bench coach for the Yankees. I think I would lean towards Thompson, who was a bench coach last year.
For who?
For the manager, for the Yankees manager. He was the Yankees bench coach. So they could keep it in house like that.
Easy transition. Yeah.
But I would have thought they would have already announced it. That's what's not scaring me, but just keeps me scratching my head because we're already past 10 days past the World Series and there was nothing. There hasn't been nothing, and it doesn't look like there's going to be nothing. Now, of course, they can surprise us tomorrow morning. Get a notification.
And it's crazy if Girardi wins that Game 7, he goes to the World Series. I mean, he still has a job. I don't get why. I'm scratching my head at why they fired him or why they didn't fire him. They just didn't re-sign him. That was an interesting move to me. But I mean, yeah.
Okay, how about Ohtani? Last week, he's posted he's going to be able to play in Major League Baseball next year. He's the Japanese pitcher / hitter that
The Babe Ruth?
Yeah, the Babe Ruth of Japan baseball. He posted he's going to play in 2018 in Major Leagues, but no team yet. Do you think it's going to work?
I mean, I feel like with all the guys coming from Japan and
This is different. This is different. We've never seen a guy that can do both from Japan.
Yeah, we've heard that before, but we've heard all these other Asian pitchers or hitters coming in as the next wonder, and they all kind of putter in. They all kind of have a couple good seasons, and then the league figures them out. And I think, I mean, until this guy proves me wrong that he can do both sides hitting and pitching and do it well and consistently, then I mean I'm skeptical, because you see all these Asian hitters and pitchers, they come in and they're hot for a couple of years, like I said, and then just they fizzle out like a Daisuke Matsuzaka. He was called the Cy Young of Japan when he came in to the major leagues about whenever he came in. And now you have Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish had a couple good seasons, but he's kind of puttered around. So I'll believe it till I see it, is what I'm trying to say.
I think it could work, but he has to go to an American League team. He's got to use that DH. He's got to use that to his advantage.
And I'm sure he'll go to New York or Boston. I'm sure you want him in New York. Do you want him in New York? I mean,
that's the thing is, now you look at our club. We're so young and talented almost at every position. I mean, you have Ellsbury still out there in the outfield, Brett Gardner. So that's pretty much locked up. You're not going to put him in the outfield. Now, the DH spot in New York could work, but do you want that kind of a guy, or do you want a guy like a Jose Bautista who's just going to go hit home runs for you? And that's all you sign him. That's all you have him for. A type, you know what I mean? Like a type like that. You tried Matt Holliday last year. It didn't work. Holliday probably had one of the worst seasons of his career as a DH, whatever it was. So will it work? That's my biggest question. Yeah, I think it's cool. It's exciting to have a guy that can pitch and hit and play both sides of the baseball. I think that's exciting for any team. But will it work in New York with just how talented and really loaded you are? Because I think you could throw in any of those guys in the infield, give them a DH day, give Judge a DH day, and throw those guys out. Give Sanchez a DH day. You know what I mean? Just how is it going to work? That's my biggest question.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah. NBA real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah,
got about like 3 minutes or so.
A couple thoughts NBA. LeBron versus the Sixers tonight. So the present versus the future, in my opinion, of the league tonight. Excited to see that game. Excited to see how Ben Simmons and Embiid do. They've been killing it all year. Season ends today. They're in the playoffs. And I'm become a Sixers fan within the last year just because of Embiid. And I had doubts about Simmons, but he's proving me wrong and everyone who doubted him wrong. He can flat out play, and 6'10" at a point guard position. That's Magic Johnson like, and I'm excited to see that. And especially they're in the Eastern Conference, so they'll be a playoff team. So I want to see them in the postseason, and I'm sure we will.
Speaking of the Sixers, why does Jahlil Okafor want out? What's going on there?
No playing time. I mean, he's a center, and they already have Embiid as the future, and it's just a very interesting. It was interesting draft. It was interesting to draft him in the first place, and now he wants out. And maybe the Mavs should pursue him. I mean, the Mavs got Noel from him. Maybe they should pursue Okafor. Okafor. I mean, because they're not doing too well right now.
Yeah, I guess some other news today: Grizzlies fire their head coach Fizdale.
Yeah, I saw that today as well. I guess it happened today. They've lost 8 in a row, and this is just this is a product of the NBA. The NBA is a players' league, not a coaches' league. So when Fizdale benched Marcus Gasol in the fourth quarter against who's the team? The Nets. It was the Brooklyn Nets. He benched him in the fourth quarter, a game they wound up losing. Media asked Gasol, "Hey, what happened in the fourth quarter?" And he basically went off. He said, "I don't know why I got taken out, but I did, and we lost the game." And that kind of, when you're a star player like that and you say something like that, the coach is gone. We've seen like that. This happens all the time in the NBA. LeBron's got rid of coaches. Harden got rid of his coach a couple years ago. Jordan has got rid of coaches. I'm not comparing Marc Gasol to Jordan, but he is the greatest player in Grizzlies history. So it's just that the NBA is the NBA. It's a players' league.
All right, man. It went by fast, but we're going to have to get out of here. We're out of time. Here for the A-Flo Show. Colin, where can they find you on Twitter?
At Colin Crosscurry, one word.
At A-Flo Radio. Find me there on Twitter. iTunes is a place to find this show. Subscribe for free there. Search A-Flo Show. Spreaker.com as well. Search the A-Flo Show if you want to find the show. Appreciate you for listening, guys. Tell a friend. Tell a family member. We're doing good stuff here. Working here for this podcast. A-Flo Show. We'll do it again next week. For Colin, I'm Andreas. Peace.